Hello, everybody. Today is October 4th, and we're doing robots and nonsense for the end of your week.
Big AI week again this week, and it's got to be OpenAI, right? They make the big headlines, and once again, they are really just sort of burying their entire past.
Mask off, really.
We're pretending that none of that open stuff ever happened.
Exclusive from Reuters. OpenAI to remove its nonprofit control and give Sam Altman equity. There's been rumors of this for the last, forever. And remember his congressional testimony where it was like, well, Senator, this is a nonprofit. I don't have any interest in this. Like, don't worry about it. He's going to be a billionaire overnight. It's going to be crazy.
Isn't he already?
Yeah.
Well,
almost certainly. He's also been buttering up Congress critters since the first time we heard about OpenAI.
The CTO has suddenly resigned.
Remember that OpenAI photo where it was like 4 people and then Sam Altman was standing behind them? Turns out he was standing behind them menacingly.
He's the puppet master.
And they are going to bring a lot more big tech onto the board, go for profit, basically just everything that flies in the face of what they were supposed to do. Also, a win for Elon Musk here. He predicted all of this.
Worst person you know just made a great point.
And Sam Altman, much like Elon Musk, is a man who has made bold predictions in his fame. He has not stopped.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman anticipates superintelligence soon, defends AI in rare personal blog post. So he's saying as soon as we have general artificial intelligence, immediately we get superintelligence, because of course we will.
A weird way of saying it, he said thousands of days.
Are we sure he's not an AI?
1,000 days is about 2-point-something years, so you would think he's saying less than 5 years?
I got the 405 billion parameter model to run reasonably well on the chips that have a lot of cores and a lot of Vcache, and it's something. I mean, it's been pretty crazy. Like giving it very long prompts with very specific instructions, and like sometimes using it, like starting with a short premise to get it to write a longer premise, and then feeding the longer premise back to it to get it to accomplish something, actually is not a terrible strategy, and it works shockingly well.
But maybe you don't want to type all that out. Maybe you just want to sit back and talk to your robot.
OpenAI finally brings human-like ChatGPT Advanced Voice Mode to US Plus and Team users.
I don't have a desire to talk to the AI.
I was trying this, and I couldn't get it to work. I saw a demo on Twitter, and I don't know if it was real or not. And it was a dude tuning his guitar. And there's guitar tuning apps. Like, that's not... Like, there's an app for that. But he was just talking to it, and he's like, I need help tuning my guitar. And it was like, all right, we'll start with E. That's the thickest string at the bottom. And then so he played E, and it's like, I have no musical ability, but I could tell that it was very wrong. And the AI was like, ooh, that's not right. And it's like, did we tokenize? Like, I thought we only tokenized words. Is it hallucinating? Is this working? But, and like I say, unless it was a rigged demo, he was able to go through and tune his guitar correctly with I presume, I have no musical ability, but the guy was satisfied with the level of tuning that was happening with he was like, oh, tighten the string, loosen the string. And it was like, no, it should sound like this. And then the AI was like humming it and making the noise. Good Lord, we're almost at the computer from Star Trek.
Well, Microsoft claims to bring us one step closer to that, because we do have that problem with AI that it never says, I don't know. It's like those horrible people in your life who will never admit that. They will answer every question, even when they don't know. How do you fix it?
Microsoft claims its new tool can correct AI hallucinations, but experts advise caution. So there's going to be another AI that watches the first AI to be like, can we back this up? No.
Which we've already seen before. So they kind of put it through here. You know, it gets it wrong, and then this other AI comes in. It's like, wait a minute, are you sure about that? It takes another crack at it.
So what you're saying is we're adding more layers of internal dialogue.
Maybe. Who knows how it works for real?
I mean, I can sort of detect something like that happening in my own consciousness. I mean, not this exactly, but think about your thought process when it's like, which thing falls faster, a feather or a bowling ball? And if you didn't already know the answer, it's like, well, the feather's going to fall faster, or the feather's going to fall slower in air, but then in a vacuum, it's not going to fall faster because gravity. It's an acceleration. But you have to think about it for a second. And AI is just like, oh, the bowling ball is going to fall faster. And it's like, that's not necessarily always the right answer.
Last week, Larry Ellison gave us a glimpse into his vision of the future, which was about the darkest thing you can imagine. One of the things about that was that the police body cams were never going to stop recording, and everything was going to be consumed by AI. And wow, did he get that one right in a short amount of time. He might have had some foreknowledge of this.
Human reviewers can't keep up with police body cam videos. AI now gets the job. And now AI is going to be relentlessly tweaked until it just doesn't flag any abhorrent behavior.
The AI said it was fine, as like someone's just getting destroyed.
I got news for you. Just put it on YouTube. We'll watch it. We're already doing that.
You just want more stuff to watch.
Remember DoNotPay?
Yeah.
DoNotPay was pre-language model hype. They were doing stuff before everybody else. And we all saw them as saviors. But the FTC does not see them as that.
DoNotPay has to pay $193,000 for falsely touting untested AI lawyer, the FTC says in this Ars Technica headline. So they didn't have a lawyer even on retainer until they had been doing this for, 2 or 3 years? And so the FTC said, this is not good. You're misleading here because you make it seem like you're giving people more than you are.
Do you think they approached a lawyer about it? Probably several lawyers. And every lawyer's like, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Well, now they'll have no problem getting a lawyer to help them out.
Well, they did say that, yeah, this was an old thing. We're not doing that anymore. And fine, we'll pay you. Which shows you how much money they're making.
Yeah.
And IBM, much like Amazon, is trying to force people out, and they're pulling the old return to office gambit, where it's, hey,
Stealth layoff.
you have to return to office, and if you say no, they're like, oh, shucks, but that's what they wanted all along. And their plan for replacing people might be hitting a snag.
As IBM pushes for more automation, its AI is simply not up to the job of replacing staff. So IBM's been trying to replace the staff, and there's still some gaps. But the amount of work staff has to do to keep up with the AI is less. So there might actually be a hybrid solution after all.
But not a work-from-home hybrid solution.
No.
And how about them bots stealing all of your website content? All about the training material. We still have that problem. Cloudflare, who has been sort of like the last line of defense against the bots, has now decided to work with them.
Cloudflare's new marketplace will let websites charge AI bots for scraping. That's a neat, that's a neat approach. AI audit.
Probably.
You can do it by model too. You can say, oh, ChatGPT can't come in here, but some other one can.
I wonder if the Amazon and IBM that are doing the mandatory return to office, I wonder if they've considered that the employees most able to get another job somewhere else in these dire economic times, leaving will make their companies worse than the people they leave behind.
I don't think they care. They don't think that far into the future. And these guys didn't think far enough into the future because they started this project without realizing that the thing they were studying would forever be spoiled and can now never be completed.
Language research project ceases as generative AI has polluted the data. This is also something that we've covered where, we covered the story on the word delve. Since the inception of large language models, for whatever reason, the word delve has become insanely popular. And that is polluting this study because a lot of the content generated that it can scrape and analyze doesn't come from humans anymore. So how do you know? How do you know which thing is which? You don't.
You give up.
It also, reading this story made me think of another interesting thing. Is we always talk about what's the copyright for an AI scraping everything and then doing the stuff and it's able to regurgitate it. But this company, in order to do this language study, also had to scrape everything in order to do this kind of a study. And even if you were a maximalist on individual rights for things, I think this kind of thing that this company was doing to scrape and do the stats is probably okay. But it's interesting how there could be a delineation there. It's you could scrape everything to teach a giant electro brain, or you could scrape everything to do a statistical study. And it's one of these things is morally different than the other.
Well, the word delve might be more popular, but words in general, seem to be not catching on with the youth. And because they now have the tools to not have to deal with all those words, they just don't.
How much do students really read? As students are turning to YouTube, podcasts, and ChatGPT crafted summaries rather than actually reading their assignments for class. Professors are unsure how to adapt. Yeah.
I'm baffled as someone who's I can't learn through audio. Like, podcasts are hard for me.
You're kind of the opposite, right? Because you won't watch a TV show, but you'll go and read the wiki.
Yeah, I'd rather read it.
A dying breed.
Yeah.
And here's another dying breed. In fact, long dead. But in these times, you will not rest. Your personality must be exhumed and put back to work.
Kill me.
London newspaper plans to revive dead art critic with AI and lays off real writers.
How long do you think they'll do that with Roger Ebert?
I mean, of all the things to use the AI for, art critic? This is
Yeah.
like museum art.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
How does it experience it? Do you just show it video?
It probably just regurgitates a description of it and doesn't actually have an opinion or understand the historical significance of the piece.
So they point out that this newspaper, which they don't name in the headline anywhere, has laid off a bunch of people. And London Evening Standard. And they've gone to weekly instead of daily. So it's not like that they're replacing their art critic. They might be. But they are replacing a lot of humans, or getting rid of a lot of humans, and bringing in AI.
I need a machine to tell me how to feel about this art.
Yeah. I mean, you could experience the art exactly the same as the AI, right? Because whatever video or whatever they have, you could just go watch it. Like, you don't need the AI to tell you anything. You just experience it for yourself. You don't have to go to the museum to see what it sees. And Tesla. Guess what? How many years has it been? Guess what they still don't have?
Full self-driving occasionally dangerously inept in 1,000-mile independent test. Close to foolproof, yet falling short. So this is bad. It's the uncanny valley of, this AI is very trustworthy, except when it's not. And when it's not is apparently very random, or it's apparently to us very random.
The worst part that they pointed out is they did daily drives in the same areas, and it would get 9 times, it would do one intersection perfectly, and then on that 10th time, it would just do something crazy. So you would start to trust it.
Oh, that makes it even scarier because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, oh.
So that was a big red flag for them. And here is a big red flag, although it's a little black dog. If you are a fire ant, if you're a fire ant and you see this, you better move in the other direction.
Researchers developed robot dog to combat highly invasive species wreaking havoc across the globe, a quote-unquote serious threat.
So this is going to be honeysuckle.
This is literally the Terminator for fire ants.
I don't think he doesn't do the murder himself.
Not yet, but
He's
soon.
just the snitch.
If they're going to put a laser harness on him, and he will.
I don't think you could laser that many ants. That would be a long job.
All I want is some robot dogs with some freaking laser beams attached to their head.
Maybe some diatomaceous earth.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. It could poop out the diatomaceous earth. Yeah.
It would need a lot. Well, one thing that I try to put as many stories as I can, and the feel-good stories in terms of like Neuralink and the make you walk again, and you're completely
Good uses of tech.
You can't hear or see anymore, and all of a sudden now that you can, it's always really nice. It's like, if the worst happens to me, at least there's hope. But then you enter into the hell of modern technology, which doesn't change when you're talking about medical devices.
An out-of-warranty battery almost left this paralyzed man's exoskeleton useless. Yeah, if I ever become reliant on any assistive devices, I'm going to become an expert on those assistive devices really quickly, including substitute and replacement parts or how to 3D print parts that wear or break.
So this wasn't even a problem with the exoskeleton. This was a problem with the watch that is used as the controller of the exoskeleton. And when he reported to them as like, hey, this is broken, can you help me out with it? They're like, that's the old model. We don't really sell that one anymore. Let's get you a new one. And it's like, it's $100,000.
Like, that sounds like a you
I don't
problem.
have $100,000. Of course, as usual, it got some press and it was immediately fixed over a weekend.
Did they fix his old skeleton or did they give him a new one?
Now they fixed the old one.
Okay.
They weren't just going to give him a new one.
No.
It's $100,000. Since we've tried to do shorter news episodes, I've been leaving out the black hole stuff, but I couldn't leave this one out.
This black hole has a cosmic wingspan, 23 light years, a width of 143 Milky Way galaxies.
This can get you anywhere, Krista.
It could be coming toward us right now.
You could
The hurricane may be the least of our problems.
You could get on the Elon Musk spaceship, start going in the other direction. It's not going to save you.
It's the energy jets are wild.
And
Also,
It's a beautiful picture.
I don't know, but this is one of the things from the James Webb thing, I think, wasn't it? It sure looks like the James Webb telescope is pointing in directions we've never looked before, and it sure looks like there's some observer effect stuff happening at a distance, which is freaky.
Why do you think one arm is longer than the other one?
The asymmetric nature of the universe. There's been more cosmic expansion in the billions of years on the one side than the other.
It's because there's more ducks on that side.
I don't know. I've got no idea.
Here's a similar question that I don't think that there's an answer for. Why does every politician have blackface pictures?
That's a good question.
It seems to be completely ubiquitous. Why, at some point, if you're going into politics, at some point in your past, you're like, this is a good idea.
British Columbia councillor blames leftist extremists after blackface photo surfaces online. Well, it turns out he had a private blog. The private blog was hacked. This photo was not public. And then it was public after his non-public, like he shared links with a family. And it's like, it is very, very, very something.
I hope that my family would call me out on something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that he blamed, quote, leftist extremists, not immediately being like, I'm sorry. Like,
Right.
This was stupid of me to have done.
Listen, it was the 80s and we were it was a different time.
I mean, I'm sure the leftist extremists exposed it. I don't think any of them were helping him paint himself.
Yeah.
Convincing him was like, this will be a great idea. This will be hilarious. Your family will love this.
Now, The Guardian, I have to take issue with because they did not give me enough backstory to understand this. This was something that happened in Australia that I assume if you're Australian, it was a big deal. But I don't know the story. Do you guys know the story?
No,
No.
I'm not familiar.
It's some sort of government protecting themselves, but I just don't understand exactly what robodebt was.
The Guardian's headline was Federal Corruption Watchdog being investigated over decision not to investigate robodebt.
What if nobody knows what it is? What if that's the twist?
So they did investigate robodebt. There was probably protection going on there, but maybe you can help us out in the comments. What is robodebt? What's going on here? Because The Guardian completely failed.
Robodebt, maybe it's the new hot dance move of October 2024.
Paul Karp and Sarah Rasford Canales both
We don't know.
completely failed.
Don't know what this is. And it may be very obvious to people in the UK as well, given this was The Guardian.
And the LAPD, boy, they don't have good press, do they? They do a lot of dumb things. And this LAPD officer ignored a very large sign with a very obvious warning.
LAPD officer lost his gun in an MRI machine during a mistargeted raid, report says.
I would be furious if I was the MRI tech because those are very expensive machines too.
Not only that, but in order to get the gun back, obviously you can't just leave the rifle there. You have to vent all of the helium, which is very expensive.
And, it stops being a superconductor then.
And he left a magazine in shame. Just like grabbed his rifle and ran out. And whatever they're looking for, was it like a marijuana grow or something like that?
At a hospital.
It's completely did not exist. Wasn't a thing. Good job, LAPD, keeping us safe. This was.
I saw this headline. I did not see the reason that was given.
Oh well, the reason is you probably missed it because it was just so insane.
The headline is Diddy's lawyer gives a bizarre reason why 1,000 bottles of baby oil were found in the rapper's house.
1,000 babies.
The answer was Costco is up the street and one likes to buy in bulk from Costco, as you do.
Because Diddy's
As you do.
financially he's having a tough time.
Saver.
He's got to save money, right? Yeah, that's.
He also said it wasn't 1,000 bottles. It was a lot, but it wasn't 1,000.
I mean, we can see in the picture that's not 1,000 bottles, but it's more than you need.
They have an expiration date.
And I just thought this was hilarious because of the whole oil thing. And people are digging up all of the dirt that every celebrity has ever interacted with Diddy. And this was just hilarious.
The headline here was disturbing footage emerges of Sharon Osbourne telling daughter Kelly she should marry Sean Diddy Combs as he has a nice old smooth oiled. Yeah.
William.
Yeah.
Are we led to believe that Ozzy does not have a smooth one?
What's really insane about this is like this level of debauchery was probably happening in the 60s and 70s and 80s with like rock and roll bands and that sort of thing, but there didn't exist the ubiquity of technology to record literally everything.
But I think it was more like just happening in the moment rather than structured.
I don't know. Didn't the lead singer, was it Aerosmith? Didn't he have like an underage girl that the parents basically signed her over to him, and then he like locked her in the house?
I think I do remember something about that.
Yeah. It's pretty disturbing.
But that's still very different than like organized blackmail.
Yeah. Ugh.
And California, we've another California story. This one wasn't really tech related, but it is going to impact you if you live there.
California bans all plastic bags after its first effort backfired, which was you could buy thick, heavy plastic bags for 10 cents that were reusable. And technically, they were reusable, but people would throw them away anyway. So it actually resulted in more plastic being done. Now you can only buy paper bags. The problem with that, though, is that the paper bags, a lot of the ones that have handles, so like if you have the option of buying a paper bag with a handle, the handle is glued on the paper, which basically makes it impossible to recycle.
You can compost those.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest problem I have with paper bags. Using them to empty my cat litter box doesn't work as well as plastic.
Are you rich or are you normal? Do you use the plastic bags to line your trash cans?
I wish that Meyer would adopt the heavier plastic bags because those things fall apart.
The trash bag in my bathroom, or I've got a metal trash can in the bathroom, and the grocery bags fit perfectly.
Yeah.
But there's not none of the other sizes are reasonable.
Well, who buys trash can bags? Actually, my husband does buy like the little trash can bags sometimes, and I'm like,
I do.
just use a grocery bag.
Because the Meyer bags are so terrible. You get a little hole in that, and you got cat litter in it. That's bad.
It's
news.
everywhere.
I do that for the organic waste in the bathroom that cannot otherwise be flushed.
And the rats in New York.
Speaking of other disgusting stories.
They are a big problem, and killing them doesn't work because they breed really, really quickly. And now they are going to try a new thing.
Rat birth control could soon roll out in New York City, leading the rats to wonder why the sudden population decline. And it's like, what's going on? We're not meeting replacement
As
rate.
humans struggle to get birth control, rats are getting more of it.
Do you think there'll be a summer of love for the rats, like the 60s?
I think it's always summer of love if you're a rat in New York.
And beavers. Beavers are causing a problem which is based on climate change, but beavers are natural, but we can't have them.
Polish Prime Minister declares war on beavers for undermining flood defenses.
Should we perhaps not build next to this river? No. We'll just be angry at the beavers instead.
So a lot of people are like, hey, man, you can't just go killing the beavers. And reading between the lines here, he's kind of like, we're going to kill the beavers.
I don't know enough about the ecology of Poland to know if that's a good or bad thing. Here, beavers are important. But
they've had like way too much rainfall this year.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to build up defenses against it. And the beavers are like, bro, we can't have this.
We're putting a dam over here.
Yeah. Don't just stop. We're good at this.
It's like playing Minecraft with somebody else and they're building something else entirely. Or Vintage Story. You should play Vintage Story chat room.
And if you are somebody who loves the panda diplomacy, this is a sad time. And if you're one of the people who's like, the global economy is not bad.
A zoo in Finland is returning giant pandas to China because they're too expensive to keep.
Isn't it true there's like a conspiracy that whenever China recalls its pandas, it's like, that could be a sign of war?
I don't think it's a conspiracy because they did pull them when we started having our trade war.
But then they gave them back, didn't they?
Yeah. Maybe because now the tariffs, if Trump
guess,
wins, is that we're going to lose our... But they're apparently very expensive, and these guys, because of the pandemic, people aren't going to zoos anymore, which is probably a net positive. And they can't afford them, shipping them back.
We can't compete with Mudang or whatever the name of the little hippo is.
I mean, baby pandas are cute, but they're not that cute.
Not baby hippo cute.
And if you have a cat in your home, you know that anything that falls on the floor must be investigated and played with.
Yeah, batted around.
But when you're doing renovation, you have to be very careful.
Police called after cat finds grenade in home's basement.
Cricket would have detonated that immediately.
So they were doing renovations in the basement, and the cat somehow found a grenade cache. There's not really a lot of info.
What a thing to have to call the police for.
But also, how about the people who was like, all right, I'm going to do some drywalling. Let me just put this grenade in here. Like, how does that happen?
People sometimes when they do renovations, they'll put like a note behind the wall. They're like, let's put this grenade back here.
Or maybe it's like, I might need a grenade at some point. Let me hide it in the wall just in case the revolution pops off. And here's good news. If you've ever lost a pet, there's always hope.
Cat missing in Yellowstone returns home to California after an 800-mile trek. So this family went camping with their 2 cats. One of them ran off into the woods. They hung around for an extra 5 days, and the cat did not come home, didn't come to the camper or anything like that. And so they left. But they're heartbroken. But then the cat showed up at home, like, what was it, a month later? 2 months later?
I think it was maybe more than that.
He was through hiking.
But it traveled 800 miles.
That whole, because dogs do that too. You hear about, like, some people will move, and
And
the
the dog shows
goes
up.
back to the old house. They've got that weird animal GPS. It's impressive. And Muding, was it Muding?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Muding?
I've seen a lot of memes about the hippo this week.
Yeah, Muding was the baby hippo that we talked about last week and has really taken the web by storm. Everybody loves it, social media, but there is a new contender.
Why is Pesto the baby penguin so big? The viral bird aquariums shares the answer. I'll just go ahead and tell you, it eats a lot.
It
like
does,
a lot.
yeah.
25 fish a day, and it was also born to one of the largest penguins that they had. So it eats a lot.
I assumed the answer was going to be, oh, it's a different breed of penguin that we've put in here, and then the other penguins accepted it. But no, it's the same breed as the others. It's just massive.
Also, there's a process that penguins go through called fledging, where they actually get smaller as they molt and gain their regular penguin feathers.
Huh.
Which-
So I've heard of fledging is like for birds in general, like when they start getting their real feathers, but I didn't realize that made them smaller.
Even within, Pesto is abnormally monstrous. And once again,
Do you think of wrestling careers ahead of him?
that'd be great, right?
Yeah, wrestling penguin.
Or he could do like action movies.
Yeah,
We'll be following his career.
closely, along with Fat Bear Week, which is probably coming up soon. Actually, I forget every year what time of year that is, but
It's when they go down for hibernation.
oh, so it's probably soon then, right? 'Cause
Probably,
it's
yeah.
it's fall now. Something to look forward to, chat. Something to be positive about. Do you guys have any other final thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts.
Okay, yeah, same.
It's completely blank.
Yeah, just void face.
Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Were you affected by return to office? Engage below.